Hello there, Sorry from 17 once again. This is my Metal Gear Solid 5 S-Rank video walkthrough. This is episode 48. It is an extreme variant of Code Talker. So the official walkthrough thinks that this is the hardest mission in the game to S-Rank. I don't think it is. I think this is probably one of the hardest missions in the game to get the no trace bonus on, because feasibly you can do that. Because you do not have to shoot the skulls at the beginning. You can skip them. However, getting past them can be very tricky. There are a bunch of strategies that do work, but there is so much luck involved. And I've been having conversations with people on Twitter, and it almost feels to me like they're playing a different game, or they've got selective memories, because they're making out they're having a really easy job of sneaking up the creek to the right of this area where I am now, and climbing up that wall to get behind the skulls. But doing it on this level, when all four of them are alive, is one of those things where I've had two where it went really smooth, where they still kind of saw me but they didn't shoot at me, and then the rest of them, I've been just picked off. And if you get shot by these snipers, you die. It is one shot, one kill on this moment. So, me telling you to sneak past these snipers is a strategy, and it can be done. But I just don't think it's reliable enough, for me personally. There are a whole bunch of weird things you can do, like, I managed to sneak up this side of the river on D-Walker, using the speed movement, and I was able to somehow not get shot. It took a few attempts, but it worked, and then I waited a little while for them to kind of forget about me, and I crawled up the cliffs, and I was perfect all the way to the last crevice, and then I got shot while I was on it, and it made me fall off. Additionally to this, I brought a tank here, and I drove past everybody on the tank, which does work, and it'll get you to the mansion in 10 seconds flat, and if you can do the mansion pretty convincingly when it's on alert, you should be okay. However, I didn't want to show that in a video, because I feel like that's the absence of a strategy. It's a really fucking good strategy, and it's stupid, but, you know, I'm here to try and show you another way of doing things, and if it's a really silly way, or a really interesting and creative way, then I try to stress for that. However, if it's just a functional strategy, then it's just that, and that's what this is, guys. I figured out that if you let them see you, the pattern in the mansion at the end of this mission is different, and I don't like it very much. However, it can be done, but getting into the room through the way that I take is much trickier because the people are closer to the door and they're on alert, so they're already looking for you. And what you can do is you can trank the three guys outside, and then you can throw a smoke at the door, open the door, throw a smoke inside, and then just get to the exit, or get to Code Talker, and as soon as you get to Code Talker, you've done the mission. Unless there's four skulls alive, and then it becomes a really interesting game of Laurel and Hardy, how the fuck do I get past them? Which can be done, but it's really finicky, and if you're like me, you'll end up throwing Code Talker off a few cliffs where you find a path, because that was really annoying, but it happened. So what I decided that I was going to do this without them spotting me. And to do this, I'm going to be all the way over where I am right now, which is pretty much the limit of the average view of this enemy. And when I say average, I mean when they're just glancing around. When they put their aim over here, they can spot you from a distance much greater away, like way behind me. However, you'll notice there's a limit to the laser sight, which is what I'm looking for here. That laser's good. That one's a dangerous one. Don't go near that. But occasionally you'll see a laser that doesn't fully stretch. When you see that, it means you can use it to your advantage and get a shot off. And what happens here, folks, is the reaction time of these snipers on Extreme is ridiculous. When you peek out, by the time you've realised she's looking at you, she's shooting at you sometimes, which is why you have to be really fine-tuned to this moment. And my guns at the moment don't do enough damage to make this fight quicker, which is why this is going to be a 10-minute sniper siege. One really good tip: if there is foliage of a tree between you and a sniper, she cannot see you. I don't know why. I tried to use this to my advantage and make a strategy that was around, you know, having as many trees near me as possible. It didn't work. It worked to an extent, but I ended up getting hit, because the problem with this fight is the longer it goes, the harder it gets. because they start getting a bit more passive and they start being a bit more defensive, and there are times where you just can't see them. And if you're aggressive at trying to find them, they'll find you. And a lot of the times, you don't have enough time to react. The 50 caliber is so good at this fight. The base 50 cal rifle will take off 1/3 of her HP if you get a headshot. I think it's nearly half her life. The problem is, it's loud. So the moment you shoot... Do you see how the laser doesn't have the full length? You'll notice I can now pop out of cover and shoot her without her seeing me, because for whatever reason, it doesn't have that full detection range. I don't know why. This is not discussed in the guide. It's just mechanics. I don't know. But the 50 cal is the way to go. I did this entire area in about 4 minutes, killing 3 of them with the 50 cal. It went wonderfully. However, it classed they'd seen me, so when I got to the mansion, all the pattern was different. And I wanted to get you to the mansion where the pattern's the easiest, and this is the only way I could do. So notice how that's a full laser. That one you don't want to fuck with. That one, she will have your number. Something that's really important here too is, you might wonder why I'm not using the same rock I used on my other attempt at this when I did it on the non-extreme variant. It's because if they do see you, they come close to you, and they come close to that rock all the time. The amount of times I died by getting attacked physically was way more than the times I got shot. But they shouldn't come close if you don't let them see you, and that's the most important part of this. If it never goes slow-mo and fires that crazy matrix bullet at you, they never technically know where you are. And I'm going to use a slightly different strategy here. I'm only going to kill 2 of them because it's taking forever, as you can see. And this is really nerve-wracking because you can lose in a second and all your hard work is gone. However, if you've got that silenced 50 cal that takes like, I think it's 58 R&D to make it, then you're going to have such an easy time with this because it is a god machine. And I don't even know how good that other one is that's below it, because that one was in Metal Gear Solid 4 and that was a really good sniper rifle too. But I'm going to move forward when there's only 2 of them left, and I'm going to do this until I see where their lasers are. And the moment I notice that their lasers aren't on anywhere near I am, I decide to go for it, because where they defend at the end when you're bringing Code Talker is random. You might get 2 of them in the north, you might get 2 of them in the south. I got really unlucky. I had 1 in the north and 1 in the south, but I was able to find a path past them. And then I went back on this level, and I got past all 4 of them. And then I came and snuck back, and I snuck by them, but I'd shot the zombie to get out of the door, which is an area that I need to work on as a strategy to not have to press a trigger. Because this level has to be no traceable. It has to be. And if you can get no trace on this mission, it's probably the toughest one of the ones that are doable. But you need to think to yourself, what missions do you have to press a trigger on when you equip something? Pretty much a lot of them, and they're the ones that you can't no trace. And I thought that this was one because, of course, you're shooting snipers, but then you can skip them. I also thought that the Voices one, episode 20, was one, and then I realised, what if you can get the Man of Fire to destroy the water towers himself? If you can get him to do that, he'll douse himself, and then all you have to do is Fulton him. So feasibly, you can no trace that mission as well. And that's what I'm going to do next, I think, folks. It might not be, next week, it might not be next month, but I think I'm going to try and no trace the entire game. But I will give adequate enough time on the channel, free of Metal Gear Solid content, before I bring that to people's attention. And we might go from there. Like, I might have it as a non-commentated series, or I might just commentate it again. I don't know, I might get creative with it, see what I can do. We'll have to see. Because there's a lot of games coming, folks, and at this moment in time, there's not really that much left in September now that I've covered this. There's the Gears remake that I've got, which I'm still on RAM. I haven't touched it since this game came out, and I don't miss it at all, because I just wasn't feeling that game at all. But I'm on RAM on Insane, and it's such a lucky bullshit fight, and I need to do it to get to the next difficulty, and then I dread to think what he's going to be like at the end of that one. But I'm probably going to try and cover that. I want to get Devil's Third and do like a laughter walkthrough, or playthrough, like a laugh through, where we just kind of mock the game together at how bad it is. Unless it turns out to be really, really good. Oh, that's something I forgot to say as well, guys. If you come here before you do episode 45, you can use quiet, and using quiet to spot the snipers is one of the easiest ways to do this fight. Don't make her shoot, just make her spot, and she'll show you where they are, and it makes it so much easier. But on this file, I don't have quiet. So it's that thing of I have to do this like this, where I'm trying to find out where they are, and it's taking forever. And then I see her laser because she's over there. Bearing in mind, at this moment, guys, there are 3 skulls left, but the other 2 are just too far away, and this rifle does no damage, and I cannot get a good headshot on her and do good damage. And it's that thing of, you could look at this and think, well, this is really cowardly, like I'm playing like a bitch. But until you've played this mission and you realise just how quick you get killed, like, just walking out of cover is a gamble. And you'll get to the point where you have to, if you want to imitate this strategy. Like, once you do this, you know, when you go back to the normal Code Talker, it's like sniping with cheats on, because it's nowhere near as intense. But as soon as we put this lady down, we're going to make our way up. And I was tempted to speed this up, but I wanted in this particular walkthrough, the only things to be sped up were to be down moments and walking. Because you're going to do a lot of walking on this game, and I didn't want people to have to put up with my walking. Which is why I've trimmed out a lot of the things that I've grown to resent when I play this game. And I say that loosely, because it's not any real enmity, it's just frustration that it shouldn't be the way it is. Like, there's an option to press back and then go to ACC, and it loads really quickly, and you're back in the chopper. Like, why doesn't it save before you do that, and why is that not classed as like an exfil? And I understand why, because they think that getting out of a mission is this tense and like thrilling experience of getting away from bad guys, but if you're playing this game at a high enough level, people don't know you're there. So there's nobody chasing you at the end. So the chopper, all that tension, all the thrill, is just not there. Like, you might as well be an old woman knitting in a chair, because that's literally what's happening. And all it's doing is slowing you down. By the way, I really like this scope. That being said, it is kind of tricky to go in and out of the scopes, because it's kind of jarring with the way that the focus pulls and the way that it's a little bit delayed. But do you notice how I've got a pattern here? Every time I come over to this rock, she seems to be over where that C marker is, and I didn't mark that on purpose. When you look through a scope, you can press a button to mark things, and I do it all the time by accident, and it fucking winds me up. But there's the laser, and you notice how it's a long laser too, so I shouldn't really contest this. I should let it go. Then again, I don't think it is. No, it's not. I can contest this, and I should be able to shoot her. So look at this. This is on extreme, and she can't see me. He couldn't see me. So, shoot her in the face. But you notice, she's so far away that that X-ray vision doesn't display where her head is. So my shots aren't as good as they could be. But the 50 cal on this mission, folks. When in doubt, 50 cal. It is beautiful. And I can't wait to unlock that extra version and do this mission again. Oh, just a quick question as well, folks. For anybody who has a motorcycle, is there any benefit to revving your engine once the motorcycle has started? Or is it just a knobhead thing that knobheads do to procure such knobbiness on top of their knob? Like, what is that about? I don't get it. Like, you don't look manly, you don't sound manly, you're not exuding any kind of confidence, elegance, or grace. I'm not in any way jealous. I just want you to fall off and get cut in half by a fucking train. Like, I want you to hit the floor so fast, it flares your entire body, so that they can't even tell who you are, judging by how destroyed and how erased your teeth are. Like, that's all I'm thinking when you're making that noise. What are you thinking? Like, I'm so cool, I'm getting all the bitches tonight. Like, ugh, I don't understand it. I truly don't. I wish for eviscerations, like plain glass accidents and lacerations the size that can't even be called that because they've done so much damage. I want arterial spray. I want nothing to be left. God, I hate those people. But anyway, I am available for children's parties, and now we can move up finally. So now that we've put her down, it's going to do this really weird thing where she gets up and she jumps away, and then she goes and lays down like a couple of feet that way, which is really silly, but we'll let them off. So this is kind of nerve-wracking. You don't know where they are, and if they want to know where you are, you'll know about it because it's going to happen so quick, there's not much you can do. So I'm crawling now, and I'm using the stealth suit here, not for camouflage because it doesn't help. I'm using it for sound, because I know as soon as I see both of these bitches looking towards where I was, I'm going to run. And then the stealth suit's going to come in handy when I go through the mansion as well. So there's the first laser. It's looking way off in the distance. There's the second laser. So this could work. And at this moment in time, I've been playing for, what, 15 minutes? And one mistake here ruins all 15 minutes worth of that work. And to some people who are really good at doing, like, ridiculously, like, you know, long things, like speedrunning a game that takes 4 hours to beat and you've got to do it in a sitting, to them, 15 minutes isn't much. To me, 15 minutes is longer than I've been alive on this planet, and I don't want to do it again because it drains me and it's not what I enjoy. I'm not a marathon runner, I'm a quick burst kind of guy, you know. I'm like a 15 meters kind of person and then gas for 5 minutes and then another 15 meters, but them 15 meters are real good. But now we've tagged them both and they're both looking away, I'm going to run. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't do it, Chris. I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just run. Just run. I know this will work. It has to work. Just try it. And there it is. The confidence is gained and we're off. And this works, guys. So, hug this left wall. I'm even going to get so ballsy as to try and Fulton away one of the fallen skulls, which is quite cool. But because none of them have done that slow motion shoot at you when they spot you, nobody is none the wiser in the mansion. And that means that the pattern there is going to be much more relaxed, and the door that we're going to be going towards is going to be much easier to get in and to get to Code Talker than it normally would be. However, there are a few extenuating circumstances that need to be addressed. Depending on your level of artificial difficulty, depending on how you've been performing in side opses, in free roam, in missions, will depend on how heavily armoured, how helmeted, and what weapons they have. Like, if you've been using nothing but smoke grenades and sleep grenades and gas grenades and all that kind of crazy stuff, you might have a bunch of people with gas masks. And I actually really like the gas masks because you can still headshot them easily. And I don't think they can wear a gas mask and a helmet. So, worst case scenario is always helmets, because the helmets are retarded. Like, worst case scenario is that, like, dustbin lid they've got across the face that those super armoured fellas get. That is just the worst. And you try to shoot them in the neck because there's a little gap, but it just doesn't work. Like, it really doesn't work. And just a show of hands right now, folks, how many of you have put a sniper rifle on a guy's face, bang on where his nose meets his lips, where there's been no helmet whatsoever, and you've been at enough distance so that there's no Coriolis effect, and you've fired, and it hasn't registered as a hit? Just a show of hands, because it happens to me all the time. It makes me doubt my aim, it makes me doubt my gun, it makes me doubt the game. Like, what did it hit? Is there like a little strap of something? Did it hit, you know, the plaster on his nose? Like, what the hell is this? The frame of his glasses that you can't see? Maybe a contact lens? Like, really weird. But this is on extreme, so the awareness of the enemies is heightened, so you're going to have to be careful getting close. And because I have a lethal sniper rifle on, I can't snipe these people. The good news is, he has night vision and thermal, so that means I can headshot him. And that's another thing that I really like. When they wear that, they're an easy headshot. His buddy, however, isn't. And do you know the remedy to this? Shoot him in each of his legs and watch what happens. I remember this from Metal Gear Solid 2. So that's his left leg. That's his left leg. Maybe it's just 2 shots in one leg and 1 shot in each. Anyhow, if you shot a guy on Metal Gear Solid 2 in his leg, he would limp and he would hold it up. If you shot him in both legs, he would die. And it's something that's carried over with the tranking. And I think that's like that in most of the games. But did you see how easy it was to get in the house just then? If any of those snipers shoot, those people that are on that balcony that just said, let's check it out, they're going to be near the door. And then it makes it a considerably different infiltration. But this is kind of funny, too. If you do it first attempt, this entire sequence will be walking, because you can't run with Code Talker unless you fuck up. And of course I fucked up. But here's the guy that always gangbangs me at the door, so I'm going to try and wait for him and shoot him in the head. I missed, which is frustrating. Come on. It's the plant, man. The plant's in the bloody way. Then I sprint. And then I show you my path that I found, which involves throwing this guy down 2 cliffs. Another thing too, look how fast I'm moving. On this game, you get upgrades that increase your mobility that make you a faster player. So at the very beginning of the game, Snake doesn't move as quick as he can later on. So you'll crawl slower, you'll crouch walk slower, and you'll walk slower. And just over there is an orange laser telling me that the skull is blocking my escape. So when I first got here, I was like, damn it, I failed. But then I continued, and of course, there are ways to get around them, you just have to get creative. And my creativity meant hugging the wall that was the most distance away from where she's sitting. And being very careful, because I'm going to tell you where I threw this guy off. You've already seen it, because I put up a silly video earlier on today of me chucking him off. And there was a nice little reference to an anime that I'm hoping people picked up on. So I'm just putting as many things as I can in between. And now I'm walking. So over here, if you go to try and go over the cliff, you're going to toss Codewalker over the side and you're going to grab the ledge. So what you want to do is you want to try and just hug this cliff precipice. But I didn't really know the terrain too well here, so you'll notice I'm looking at areas that I could try and drop down from. And it's just not worth it. So instead, I'm going to crouch here. I don't actually think you need to. I think you're good. As long as that laser's not pointed in your direction, I think you're pretty much good. And it makes me really excited to be able to sneak past the skulls and then sneak past with Code Talker. Like, I wonder if when you get the wormhole, if you can take this guy away. Like, I was trying to think of alternative ways of doing it. What if I put him in the car, and then I Fultoned the car, and then I remembered it only takes the kids? Like, what if I put him on top of a cargo crate that I don't know if it exists in this level, then I stand on top of it and hope he balances with me as it takes us out? Like, I was thinking of so many ways to try and circumvent what I just did then, when in reality, what I just did then was really manageable, and not too bad at all. Like, the toughest part of this is not getting spotted during that sniper section, and then the rest of it is gravy. But that sniper sequence, it was like 15 minutes for a very good reason, guys. It is not easy, and I hope you think it's easy. I do. I hope you're really good at it, and you've got, you know, super good strats that work perfectly every time. But the one that I showed you there was the safest thing I could find, like, straight up, outside of driving a tank up or sneaking past them, which I just didn't want to do because I couldn't do it consistently. And every single time I snuck past them, they were all still looking at me. The lasers were all really close to me the entire way, and it don't feel clean to me. And like, I chose the lesser of the two evils as I wait for the helicopter that takes too long to fucking come, which I should have called for when I got in control, but I didn't because I forget to do that. But here he comes, and at this entire moment I'm just afraid that the skull's going to take my chopper down. Because I did a mission where I got into my helicopter, everything was going great, and then there was a vehicle on the road somewhere that could see my helicopter that I'd not spotted, and because it was on extreme, it instantly murdered me in the sky. It's so bad. But there it was, guys. I got a terrible time bonus. If you're quick on that mission, if you drive the tank past everybody, you will get a fantastic bonus. You will get over 130,000 points just from the time bonus alone. But that is pretty much the safest way I've found to do that level comfortably. And even then, the sniping is really tricky. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.